If you observe your dogs, you will realize that they love to sniff everything and put their snout in the most unexpected places, especially between bushes and bushes. This can cause a superficial wound on the nose or nose of our dog that requires attention. If your puppy is one of those who plays in a somewhat rough way with other dogs, it is also possible that he will receive some scratches that cause a little bleeding. We are going to explain how you should heal a wound on your dog's nose correctly, to avoid infections. 1. Is your dog's nose wound really serious? We need to observe if it is one or several wounds and their location. We must also take into account whether the bleeding is bilateral or from a single hole, whether it is drip or more constant bleeding. It can even occur when you sneeze or cough. Your dog's age and his medical history, if he has a disease, can also be important in assessing the severity of injuries. So you can find out in a simple way if it is appropriate to go to your veterinarian. If that is the case, remember every detail so that you can comment later. If, on the other hand, it is about small scratches or scratches with or without small bleeding, we should not be overly alarmed since it will simply require minimal care to avoid future infections. If we cannot see the wound well due to the bleeding, we can use a sterile gauze to clean the affected area, or use water to rinse the area and be able to better check the wound. It is normal for our dog to complain because he will feel pain, so do not be alarmed if you hear him complaining. Once you know the type of injury he has, just use your common sense. Small wounds can be healed by us, large wounds need mandatory veterinary supervision, always. 2. Steps to heal a nose wound in a dog. When we speak of the nose, we refer to the entire muzzle in general, although the correct thing to do is to differentiate the muzzle from the nose. The nose is the front part of our dog's nose, usually black or brown. The first thing we must do is clean the wound with water. We can apply water directly or use sterile gauze soaked in water or physiological saline. We can get it in pharmacies. If the bleeding is heavy, you must compress the area by applying an ice pack. Remember not to cover the nostrils with cottons, gauze, cloths or water, and that your dog's head always remains forward. 3. How to properly disinfect. You should never use abrasive products such as hydrogen peroxide or alcohol. Liquid iodine, betadine for example, can be purchased at any pharmacy and is the best disinfectant we can use. With the help of a sterile gauze, we will apply iodine to the affected area and wait for it to dry a little, letting the wound air out. At this time, avoid that your dog makes sudden movements with the head. If the wound is bleeding, we can apply with the help of a gauze soaked in iodine, pressure on the wound for a few minutes. In this way, bleeding will decrease and we can apply iodine again as a disinfection. This is usually sufficient, although it is advisable to apply iodine again once a day for 2 or 3 days afterwards. If your pet is one of those with long and abundant hair, it is advisable to shave the immediate areas of the wound, thus avoiding contaminating it. If our dog scratches the wound with its front paws and blood is drawn, we must put an Elizabethan collar on it for a few days to prevent further damage. If the wound shows symptoms of infection or simply does not finish healing, we must go to a professional veterinarian. 4. What complications could we experience during the cures? Our dog cries and complains. We should not be alarmed by this. It is a normal, physiological response to the pain of manipulation. Our dog cannot be cured. It is very logical that at the time of the cures it avoids that you touch it. That is why we recommend that you help yourself from another person at the time of the cures. The dog opens the wound because he scratches himself often. This is something that you must take into account, and in your case you must put an Elizabethan collar to prevent it from being damaged. You don't have disinfectant. This is a problem, as the wound can become infected and get worse. In any pharmacy you can buy gauze and disinfectant cheaply. Your wound smells bad, becomes inflamed, or leaks yellow-green fluid, pus. If this happens, you should go to your vet. For some reason normal healing has been paralyzed, the wound has become infected, or it simply needs some stitches. Now, I hope this video will be of great help to you. If you liked it, do not hesitate to subscribe and share it. Take care of yourself and your furry friend, since he is a member of your family and as such should be healthy. A greeting.